With staggeringly high rates of HIV in the country, awareness programs are crucial. The MTV Staying Alive Foundation is doing this by integrating educational messages into shows like MTV Sugar Down South. The show aims to inform and educate people about ways to prevent HIV. It also highlights pre-exposure and post-exposure. To discuss this further, I'm joined by MTV Staying Alive Foundation Country Director Yvonne Diogo. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on the South African Morning.
Thanks, Abigail.
So it's a very important discussion, and I had a brief look at the stats. One stat suggested that in 2021 there was something like 8.2 million infections. Is that in the country? Let's just talk through some of the stats and why they're so concerning.
100%. So the latest stats is that in South Africa we've got 1 in 4 persons living with HIV. And what we're seeing is that a lot of the causes behind, the infections, new infections, such as the stat that you mentioned, is the issue of stigma. We're not talking enough about these issues. We're sweeping them under the rug and hoping that they go away.
And of those new infections, how many of them are young people who could possibly, if educated correctly, could have avoided such a situation?
We're talking about 60% of young people, and that is mainly between the ages of 18 and 24. And that's the reason why we've got MTV Sugar targeting that specific demographic profile.
And let's expand on that and the importance of using a platform like a TV channel. I mean, MTV is loved by many young South Africans. Talk to us about the idea and the concept of using this platform to educate.
Absolutely. So entertainment is key. Multimedia is key, and so we've got MTV Sugar, which is really a 360 multimedia campaign that basically uses a media-first approach to social behavior change. And so centered around this multi-award television drama series initiated in 2009. So we've got about 15 seasons to date. We basically supplement that with the likes of print in the form of a comic book, radio drama series on vernacular radio stations, as well as the commercial radio stations. We've got activations in public places like taxi ranks, but we've also partnered with the Department of Basic Education, where the content basically supplements what is taught within the life orientation curricula in schools, and that is mainly in high schools as well as in institutions of higher learning through a peer education program carried out outside of school hours in those institutions.
And what has been the response so far? I mean, 15 seasons in, multiple activations, a lot of engagement, a lot of education. Are we slowly starting to see the narrative change and the conversations change?
Absolutely. So we've had independent evaluations done to date by the World Bank as well as the London School of Health and Tropical Medicine. The latest one, evaluating the last season of MTV Sugar Down South in South Africa, was carried out in 2019. And what we saw there was staggering. So not only are young people watching MTV Sugar Down South, but it's from that evaluation we saw that those who watch MTV Sugar are twice as likely to know about preventative measures such as HIV self-testing, where you can conduct a screening in the privacy of your own home by getting a kit from your local clinic or pharmacy. They are twice as likely to know about preventative measures such as pre-exposure prophylaxis, but not only do they know of these products, they are twice as likely to actually use them, and that was confirmed by the World Bank.
Amazing. So let's expand on these preventative measures and maybe educate, since we are on this platform. What are you've touched on them now, but let's just expand on those measures and how they can be implemented in daily lives.
So, we can't control everything that happens around us, so there's a product called pre-exposure prophylaxis, and really the short term is PrEP. This is readily available in pharmacies as well as our clinics. There's a platform which is also freely available to anyone in the country, myprep.co.za. So it's the World Wide Web, www.myprep.co.za. They've also got a chatbot, so Sister Unati. So you don't have to phone and be on standby for somebody to assist you on the other side. 24/7, that helpline is available through the chatbot. And so what really pre-exposure prophylaxis it's a tablet that you can take if you feel that you are susceptible to HIV, infection. Maybe you are in a high-risk environment. Maybe it is your partner who's maybe averse to using a condom. So there's a way of protecting yourself. But also, knowing is power. Because once you know your status, then you can take the necessary measures. I already mentioned the self-test kits, which are also available. We've also got PEP, which is post-exposure prophylaxis. So should you find yourself in the unforeseen, incident that you've been exposed, you can take precautionary measure by visiting your local clinic or even your general practitioner. And you can get this tablet, which must be taken within 72 hours of exposure. And then you know that, you are not at risk.
Yeah. So let's expand on something that you've touched on as well, and that's the stigma of maybe testing positive or having a partner who's tested positive or a family member that's tested positive. How do we break that cycle of stigma and make people more comfortable to talk about it and also to seek help?
I think a good learning for all of us in our communities is, the COVID-19 pandemic that we had. Yes, there was stigma around it, but we all understood that it's important to take preventative measures. And it's also important to, to know if you are positive, because then you can take measures to protect those around you. But more importantly, we all felt that, when we were affected or we had a family member who was affected, they needed our love and our care. Now, the same applies when we have a friend who's infected with HIV, or maybe perhaps ourselves, we are going through that. It's important that we realize that it is just another virus. And so we should be there for our loved ones, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah. So you've done amazing work so far with MTV Sugar Down South and all of the activations. What else is happening? How are you expanding and making sure that the message gets to a bigger audience and more people?
The social media is just, going through the roof, the comments, because we are on TV every Tuesday at 9 p.m. and then also on social media on YouTube. So the social media runs, from the moment that episode is about to come on, and we are 5 episodes in. So we've got interesting storylines. We've got this star, I'm a piano artist, and she is in a relationship with snacks. So it's very controversial. She loves this man to bits, but he is abusive. So there's the issue of GBV coming through there. So what is Nono going to do? Because she loves this man, but she's also got to protect herself. How does she make sure that she's in a healthy relationship? We've also got positive messaging coming through. We've got this character, Waruna, who's been bullied because, of her physical image. And there's a positive message of body positivity that comes through that. We've also got positive role modeling in Coach Sono, as well as in Tuli. As a young person who's lost her parents, how does she navigate life and, find a brighter future? And then this Coach Sono, what is it that we should be doing for our youngsters in our immediate surroundings to make sure that they feel supported?
I think the storylines are so relatable, and that's probably why the show is doing extremely well, because it's telling an important story and an important message, but in a relatable way that we all can feel included somehow. So well done on all of the amazing work and the education that you are creating. It's a difficult environment to maneuver, but we appreciate the hard work and education that's taking place. Thank you for your time. My absolute pleasure. That was MTV Staying Alive Foundation Country Director Yvonne Diogo just chatting to us about MTV Sugar Down South and the important messaging that's being aired there around HIV, and also some of the pre and post the measures that you can explore when you think you've been exposed to HIV and AIDS. A very important conversation and education that needs to take place.